All right, when I tell you that this was a fun yet hard video to do, I am not joking. Ranking a brand that has some of my favorite things and having to put some things down towards the bottom is always very hard, but I thought this would be a fun way to do a full face of some summer going into fall makeup. That was a request that I had seen, and I'm all about that because right now I feel like Mother Nature does not know where she wants to be. Today it is actually Labor Day, and it was like less than 70 degrees when I started filming this video, which is just bananas. So I feel like the weather and I are both sort of going back and forth as to what we want to do. I've had days where I still want all of the brights, all of the like fun, juicy summer colors, but there have been times, especially when it comes to nails, let me tell you, after having these bright greens for a while, I am ready to start like getting into those fall colors. And so we're gonna do this look here today. This isn't really as much of like a tutorial style. This is quite simple, but you'll get to see everything that I've used to create this look. So most of you that have been to my channel know that I really love a lot of things from RMS. So I thought that this would just be a fun way to share all of the things that I have, including the new concealer. I did pick up the Revitalize Hydra concealer. I have been using this for a bit now, so this is not a first impression, but this will be somewhere in the rankings. So you're gonna have to stay tuned to see where this one falls, so you'll get to see my thoughts on that and everything else I have here. I do want to say RMS has sent me some things before. I will try to remember and do my best when I talk about the products as to what I've purchased, what they've sent me. It doesn't really matter opinion-wise either way, because you know that I am going to keep it real with all of you. And of course, I will have all of these products linked down below for you if there's any of these that you think you want to try after I gush about them. Or ones that you want to avoid. I have to say, you know, we're going to be starting at the bottom of the rankings here, and I do have one that it's a hard way to start a video. It's a hard way to start a video. So we're just going to end up ripping that off like a band-aid in just a minute here. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. Like I said, we're starting at the bottom. Okay, let me pull up my list just so that I can make sure. I laid out all of my products and I sort of did the like cups game of trying to like move stuff around to see where I really wanted to keep things. And honestly, a couple things sort of flip-flopped as I was applying my makeup today. So I hope this video is helpful to you, but if you have any questions during this about any of the products, drop them in the comments and I will help you out there. All right, y'all. So if you watched my favorites and fails video recently, you're not going to be surprised to see this one. The Cashmere Matte Eyelights. I was so excited when these came out because, spoiler alert, I really do love the regular eyelights. These are not it, y'all. These are not it for me. So I only have this one. I have Dusty Trail. I did pick this up, by the way. I also got the brush. Today was the first time that I used the brush though, so I'm not throwing that into the rankings. I will say though, this was a decent brush. Would I pick it up on its own? Probably not, but I am gonna enjoy using this. So, all right, I mentioned that I thought that this product isn't necessarily really bad. It's just a little bit fussy and not something that I need with the different matte, like liquid / cream shadows that I have. But after today, y'all, honestly, I'm just gonna get rid of this today for the first time, and it could be because of what I already had down on my skin. You know, I had some juicy complexion products, so it might be something that is like a little bit more radiant, a little bit more oily, if you will, hitting this. But this product pilled on me today, and I was just like, what is going on here? It started balling up. Maybe I'll get the footage of it. I mean, this color is very pretty, but it goes on a little patchy. Also, it starts like leaking out, and I know that they're like, oh, just like tap it and make sure, you know, you don't have the package too like squished in. I don't have that problem with the regular eyelights, and it's annoying. I think I actually had got the footage of when I like looked down as I was doing my makeup, and there was like a string like this long that had like splooged out. So that was really disappointing. But on my hand, when I apply this, it looks lovely. The color is, you know, just sort of like my skin, but a little bit darker, sort of like peachy tone. So it's not exactly the most exciting shade, but when I'm gonna try something new, I usually want something that I know that I'll just be able to wear with a lot of different things. So it looks great here. Applied, it just gets a little bit, I am going to say patchy. It was patchy today and it pilled, and that's a no for me. So that's a big bummer. Let's go ahead and move on from that. I got done with it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend these at all. I just think that there are other products out there. I'm sorry, RMS. But this one's a big miss for me. I don't know how this ever got through the testing, honestly. All right, so this next product. This one is the Back to Brow pencil. So I will say that there is a certain person that I think that this pencil would actually be really nice for. I'll get into that, but I'm going to tell you the reasons that I don't love it. First of all, the brand has 3 shades, which does not surprise me. I mean, I don't think that this is going to be a brand that is like thriving off of their brow pencil sales. You know, this is just something that if someone is a brand enthusiast, a brand loyalist, they'll be able to have something. And I know, you know, RMS touts themselves as being a clean beauty brand. So if that's really important to you, look up the ingredients that you're looking to not see in products, and you know, maybe this would be an option for you. A couple things is, so I have the dark shade, and I feel like with a formula that I'm used to, that wouldn't necessarily be a problem. The thing with this pencil is it is so soft. It's so soft. I feel like right now it is not as soft as it was, but that's because like this little bit has been sitting out for a long time, so it's not as soft as it is when you first sharpen it. But like that just leads to a lot of product very quickly, and I don't love that in my life right now. Kelly, who loved like a super sculpted perfect brow at one point, probably would have liked that. I also just don't understand why we have this like aluminum tube that goes over this entire pencil. I think this also had one here. I'm just like, what is the point of this? Why don't we just have like a, I'm so confused about the package. I don't know. I do like having a spoolie on the end to be able to blend this out. The way that I'm going to end up using this, in fact, I did it today, I just smudged a little bit into my lash line. The other thing is the fact that this is 25 bucks. Like, there are so many brow pencils that do a great job that are like in the 10 to 15, even less dollar range. So this one just was like, okay for me. Now, for the person that I think that this would be really good for, because it is a fairly soft formula, if you are starting to notice that your skin moves a lot, this might be great for you, because if you find that it's hard to get a good defined brow because, you know, as we age, depending on like your brow shape, all of those things, that movement that can be in your skin with a firm pencil, like a lot of the like really fine pencils, you go to like sketch into your brow and your brow skin moves. So it's really hard to stay accurate. This, because it is softer, I think that would be a little bit easier. As far as durability goes though, it is pretty smudgy. Like I just smudged off that little mark that I had made. So I feel like if you are a face toucher, this is not a good one. But if you are finding that like you have a lot of mobility in your brow skin, this might be a great one to try. And then you could probably just set it down with a bit of translucent powder to like make it last longer, but it's just a no for me. Okay, so those 2 products are really, honestly, the only ones that I'm like, like this I'll use up in some way. Obviously the matte highlight, I just won't use it all, but the rest of them, I just had to put them in an order, and something's got to be further down than the others. So the Back to Brow powder. Now I actually really like this brow powder. I think that there are a lot of brow powders out there. I think that, you know, obviously this one is a little bit higher priced than some out there, but I do like the formula. That's what I used in my brows today. I'm just really enjoying right now a soft diffused brow shape, like not like blurred out. I don't want like brows that are like ombre or anything. I just want something that isn't like super stark, something that looks a little bit softer. Oftentimes I will use a powder and then go in and add a few hair strokes. I didn't do that today. So this is a nice one. I actually prefer this over like the other brow powder I have right now is like an Anastasia one that I've had for 7 million years. And I like this better. The formula just builds into the brow easier. Again, this is something that they only have in 3 shades, I think, which, you know, is a little bit unfortunate, but I actually do really like this. So this is a good one. I think if the brand was having a sale and somebody asked me like, hey, I need a good brow powder, I would probably recommend this. It's $29 at full price. So do I find that the value is there for a powder? You know, a lot of people will just use an eyeshadow that is a similar shade, like a matte eyeshadow. I totally think that you can do that. I do feel like this has just a little bit of almost more of a satin matte than matte finish though. So the thing about that is really, if we think about brow hairs, they're not matte. They're not super shiny, but they're not like matte, you know, like your hair. If a healthy hair is going to have a bit of a shine to it. So I do like the fact that this has a very natural looking finish to it. So that is the one thing, but you know, again, you might have a satin matte eyeshadow that would work as well. So moving into the next product now, I was like, I do really like these, but they have to go somewhere. So let's talk about the Supernatural Radiant Serum. So I have two shades. I'm pretty sure that the brand sent both of these to me. By the way, the brow products as well were sent to me. Okay, I like this product a lot. I love the look of this on the skin, especially when I am going to not be wearing a lot of other makeup. It is quite luminous, so if that's not something that you love, then you're going to want to skip this. Now, the other thing is really RMS does tout this as sun protection, and it does. It does have a SPF of 30. The thing is though, is like for the amount of this product that you would have to put on to get a really good coverage as far as SPF, you would be quite glowy. You would be quite glowy. And the colors in this, like the light aura shade is a little bit more on the pinky pearlescent side. Let me see if I can squeeze these out. And it's quite light. So I feel like you would end up having like a pearlized face. The medium, honestly, even for me right now, like if I were to put it on as like my sunscreen, it would be a lot. And this one actually does have quite a bit more coverage. They do also have a deeper version, I do believe. But if if you were to put these on, you would really see the tint. So you can see the medium and then the light. So oftentimes this time of year, I will like mix the two together, which seems very extra, but I do like to do that and then just get sort of like a middle ground. Today I have on just the medium because I do have enough, color to my skin that worked fine. And then in the winter I can use the light on its own, but it does have a pinky pearlescent color to it. So it does make my skin, I have a light olive skin tone, so that it doesn't look like my skin tone. It looks like I put a pearlescent primer on, so I'd probably want to wear something over the top of it. But this shade I love using on days where it's like I just want a little bit of glow, a little bit of warmth to my skin, and that extra SPF. So to me, this is like an extra bonus and a glow with a little bit of tint to it. So this definitely has a place, but it probably shouldn't be your all-in SPF. So I do really like it. It's just that because it's not something that I have in my everyday or most day routine, this is why it's a little bit further down on the list. Okay, another product that I don't have right now because I used up my little travel size of it, but the Cockadoo Luxe Cream. So good. I have it on here a little bit further down because I have quite a few different face moisturizers that I enjoy, but if for some reason those all were like out of my house right now, like I didn't have a hoard of products that are sitting in that cabinet back there, and it was like, okay, I need something that's rich but not heavy, I would absolutely repurchase this one, hands down. It's beautiful. It's so nice. They do have the travel size and the full size, I believe. So if you're looking for something that just has a luscious feel to it, but isn't super heavy, if you have really oily skin, it might not be the best, but it's lovely. The experience of it is really nice. But for me, again, because I do have a lot of moisturizers that I enjoy, that makes this slightly less unique. But I love the way that my skin looked with it. Plump, radiant, not irritating, not slip sliding all over my face. So it was lovely. So if you are in the market, definitely check it out. Okay, this one. So I'm putting this in here. It was a collaboration with Heretic Parfums, which maybe I'm a little bit biased of because I do have several of their scents. This is Scarlet Moon. Oh, if you like citrus and you need like a wake up burst scent, this is definitely one to check out. So I had to pull up the website to be able to give you the list of notes here. We have blood orange, bitter petitgrain, and tantalizing Italian mandarin. Then we have violet leaf, galbanum, and fir needle, and then black pepper. So then the base is hinoki wood and lush cedar. So these several of those notes are ones that I know from Heretic, just sort of having that in their wheelhouse. It's very much true to their brand. This is so effervescent. It's a little bit woody. You get that black pepper at the end. Black pepper is not a note that I really love in a scent, but it does add something to this. You definitely have to like a very bright citrus. This isn't sweet though, so it isn't gonna be like creamsicle-y. It's more of that, like, they say blood orange. I almost get like a little bit of like a grapefruit, sort of that like bite. Oh, it's nice. The one thing about this though is the longevity on this is not all day, which, I mean, it's basically a freshie or like a citrusy freshie, you know what I mean? So you're gonna get maybe 4 hours out of this, but even then, I feel like if someone were to give you a hug, you would smell clean and woody, but not so much like you were wearing a fragrance. Maybe just that you were like clean and had just taken a shower. You know what I mean? So I really like this. I was very shocked, by the way, because I asked the brand when we were talking about something else. I was just like, by the way, do you happen to have any samples of Scarlet Moon? Because I would love to try it. And they offered to just send me the whole bottle, which I was very grateful for. I've gone through quite a dent. Citrus scents are not something that I reach for all the time, but when I do, this is one that I love to grab. And I think that this can be layered for a lot of different experiences as well. Okay, the Legendary Lip Oils. So this is the one I have on today. This is Mila, and I love the feel of these on the lips. I love the different shades they have, and the reason I chose this shade today is this is how I choose to sort of start dipping into fall. Like my look today, I feel like we have a fairly like any season eye, but it's a little bronzy, but it's a little bit fall vibes, and I still like the bright cheeks, give me all the blush, but then a more toned down fall vibe lip. The thing that I think keeps it a bit more fresh for that like end of summer is the fact that I'm using something that's more sheer. So a gloss, an oil, something like that versus a lipstick. This is just such a beautiful shade. It's definitely that like deep sort of like grayed out berry. Does that make any sense? Like a brownish gray berry? Wow, that probably doesn't sound... You see what I'm saying here? The color can be built up. It's obviously a lip oil, so you're not gonna get like crazy long wear out of it, but they are lovely. I just wish that they were a bit more hydrating. I don't feel like right now, it feels really luxe and buttery on the lips, but I don't think that this really nourishes my lips in any way. And I mean, honestly, I think that that's a lot of lip oils. Like there's the feel of nourishing at the beginning, but once it's gone, there's not really much that's happened there. So love the colors. I have quite a few. I have purchased all of the ones that I have, by the way, but I have like 4 of these at this point. So I really enjoy these. Again, the reason this is sort of in the middle of the pack, there are so many lip oils out there. I do like the colors in this brand though. Like they have enough color to them that they could really be worn as your lip product on its own, but you can also like layer them a little lighter and just have something really easy. Like I would be fine with this color, even just like not having a mirror, just throwing it on in the car. So they're really nice. While we're on the topic of lips, let's talk about the Legendary Serum lipsticks. You guys know that I really enjoy these. I have quite a few shades here. I think I maybe have more. Now, I purchased a couple of these. RMS sent me a couple of these. I love that they had their original launch of colors and then they launched a whole set of nudes. So if you're checking on the website, you can see them in like different areas. I think they are listed separately. And by the way, this is probably a good moment, side note, to mention that Ulta does also carry RMS now, which I just love. I think I just saw that they're actually going to be in store at select locations, which would be awesome. So I will, in the description box with the links, have both the RMS site and Ulta listed. You know, both have rewards programs. You can catch sales on both sites, so just check that out. But if you are looking for something that has a bit of the tone of the lip oil that I have on right now, we can use the shade Angela. I love this. I tell you what, you guys, I love these lipsticks because they can really be built up to like full impactful color, or you can sheer them out. So I just popped a little bit of Angela on right there. This is definitely fall vibes for sure. Or you can, you know, kind of blend it out and just have almost like a lip stain. These have what I would say is like a satin matte. They aren't as creamy as a satin in the dry down, but they feel good on the lips. They just don't have that creamy look as a satin does, but they also aren't like drying matte. The other color that I wanted to pull up, where is that one? If you like something that's maybe a bit more on the warmer side, nope, that's not the one. If you like something that's a bit on the warmer side, I think that Audrey would be another really nice fall one. This is definitely, you know, another colorful, oh, I just started to shear it out, but like, oh, look at that. It would be like pumpkin-y, but like refined, you know, a beautiful shade. But look, again, sheared out, you could wear these as like that lip stain. Let's do one more, 'cause why not? Why not? So I have, what are these two here? If you like a good neutral lip, Jane is a beautiful one. This is just a really nice, like rosy beige. But again, you can like shear these out. These are so pretty, and they have color, and they also have the nude. So, you know, you can put on a lot, put on a little to make that transparency difference, but they have all sorts of shades. I think there's something for everybody in there. So I really do enjoy these. If you were ready to kind of like full on go into fall, I think Angela on the lips would be what I would pop on right there. Ugh, so pretty. I do think I have on my Instagram, I have lip swatches of a few of the shades in case you want to check that out. All right, I really had a hard time putting this one towards the middle because actually this last month, I have just been using this nonstop. It's the Redimension Hydra bronzer. I've been using the shade Tan Lines. I do have this one and Malibu Muse. So some of the pros of this product are the soft luminosity. It's what I have on today. So this looks like beautiful, healthy skin, but I don't feel like I look like I've got gold glitter, gold sheen, anything in my bronzer. I mean, for a while there, like back in like 2010, around then, it was like everything had like lots of glow to it. And it's like, okay, but a bronze look is not, if you get a tan, it doesn't come with glitter. That might be kind of fun. It might be fun for skin glittered as we like got more tan, but that's not what happened. So this just to me looks very healthy. It is also a very multitasking product. I have used this as an eyeshadow so many times. I actually have it on my lower lash line today. It's just beautiful. Like it's sort of that, like, I don't have to think about it. It's always going to look good. It's not going to be patchy. But the downside is that this product is so translucent that you have to build it up to see more color. So I think there are 4 shades, and to me, it's really like 2 light shades and 2 medium shades in sort of more of a warm bronze and a cool bronze. I think that they need to do at least one more set of bronzer shades because I don't think for very deep skin you're gonna see this at all. Because if I'm able to use like the mid-tone shade, maybe they had 6, whatever. This one's kind of in the mid-tone, and if this is like my summer shade, then that means that there's a whole group of people that can't use this product at all, and that's a shame. So definitely need to see more colors, but this is very lovely. I mean, you can see like I've gotten quite a bit of use out of that. So really enjoy this one. Definitely a recommend. Again, it's in the middle of the pack as well because I have a lot of powder bronzers that I like. I have a lot of bronzers that I like in general, but the finish of this one is what makes this one special. All right, another product that I've been using a lot this season, the Sun Cover-Up Tint, the Sun Cover-Up Super Tint. So I have the shade Tan. I will say this shade is a bit of a miss for me today. I did actually pair it with just a drop of my Face Atelier Olive Corrector because this is very, like, you'd think tan is going to lean on the warm side, but this has almost that like pinky peach undertone. Like I would say it's more cool than it is warm, but it's that salmony. It comes off kind of salmony, and so I do have to mix something in with it. I will say this is, you know, it's listed as like a tint, right? This is 50 SPF, by the way. And I think the way that this was born was people were asking for something that had like this finish, this beautiful luminosity, but with a little bit more tint and something that they could really wear as like their full skin tint. And this comes in many more shades than this does. I still think that they need a couple, like, can we just get more olive tones in this world, please? Thank you. But this one I've been using a lot right now because it's also too dark for me come like next month. Even like today when I put this on, I was like, oh, okay, need a little bronzer on the neck because like I haven't seen the sun lately. I mean, here it is, Labor Day, and I'm like inside chatting with all of you. But I wanted to get this video done for you guys. So I got a little makeup on. Jet and I are gonna go to the dog park soon. This definitely hasn't been the summer of me getting out a ton, like between the weather and between just my life. I just haven't been getting a lot of time outside. So I'm not as tan as I usually would be. But I like I like the look of this product. I will say for a skin tint, honestly, it is higher coverage than I would prefer. In the clips that I've been showing, maybe you can see it is, for me, like, it's a lot of coverage. It's not unnatural, but this I think can be almost considered like a medium coverage product, which is great to see if that's what you're looking for. Oftentimes I use a pump of my moisturizer to sheer this out a little bit. And then that also does give me a little bit more wiggle room with the shade of this, because if it's more translucent, then that undertone just doesn't look quite as wonky. But I do like this. It is quite glowy though. So I honestly would prefer a product like this leaning into the fall when my skin starts to get dry, but I still want to have some luminosity. So I will probably mix this in with other products to keep some of that feel, but I definitely like to sheer it out in the summer. So just wanted to give you all of my thoughts on that, which I clearly just did. Let's keep going. Moving on into what you guys might have been waiting to see is my thoughts on the new concealer from RMS. So RMS has had their little pot cream concealer, the Uncover Up concealer. I have not tried that one. I do like a pot concealer, but I have to say, I really love this one, which is why it's coming in, you know, closer to the front of the ranking. So speaking of, can we just say 3 cheers for olive shades? Which makes me wonder, if they did olive shades in the concealer, they must have been hearing people say that they want olive shades. So I would not be surprised if products like the Sun Cover Up and some of the others that are popular, if they end up having olive shades. Please, 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 RMS, do it. So I do have 0N08, which I think is an olive neutral. I did actually buy 2 shades to see which one that I wanted. I wasn't sure if I wanted the light olive or the dark olive. I opened up the light olive and I was like, yeah, I think that this is going to be the one that I want now going into the winter, but in the dead of summer, I do think that the darker one would work for me. So you can see here, it's not like so olive that it's like gray, but it does have a beautiful, just a beautiful undertone. The one thing I will say though, is if you are trying to cover up darker, like dark circles, even if you have olive skin, I would steer you away from something with this tone, because that green that's in here will actually make your under eye look worse. So I would still stick to something that has a bit of a, like, well, if you have like blue darker circles, I would stick to something that is almost like pinky peachy in your under eye corrector, if that's what you're using this for, or have another under eye corrector. Anyway, color theory, I talked about it in a recent video. I think I talked about it in my green color corrector video. I think that's what it was, maybe? I can't remember. But anyway, we're not diving into that today, but we're gonna talk about this. So I'm gonna open it back up again. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked as I was like itching again. Gosh. So the one thing that I think is fairly unique to any of the concealers that I have tried is this does actually have, if you guys can see it here, wow, can you? It does actually have a brush tip. I do think that there's another one that has a brush tip. It's not one that I've ever tried, but I do like this tip quite a bit. It can get in really accurate. I like that it's not too big. I really like this product, you guys. It is thick enough that it's gonna actually do something, but it's not so thick that it's gonna be like super cakey. It isn't overly slidey, but it isn't drying. I will say though, one thing that I do find about this is it does dry down quickly. Like today you'll see that I did kind of like dot it everywhere. I would personally say to work one eye and then work the other, and then like do your spot concealing or whatever you want to do, because I find that like by the time I do one eye, when I get over here, I just don't get as easy of a blend. Does it still blend out? Yes, but I find that it's like, oh my gosh, it's already starting to set down. Which for me is kind of exciting, because then you don't need barely any powder to be able to enjoy this product and not have it like move around, which always makes us look better the less powder that we have, you know, as far as like cakey under eye. So I enjoy that, but I was a little bit surprised about that. But I do really like it. I think it worked out really well today. It did offer a bit of brightness too, since this one I felt like was a little bit dark when I got it on. So very nice. Again, not overly glowy, not something that's going to run around, but not matte and cakey. It just looks like a beautiful skin finish on. Definitely has enough coverage for me. I like something in a concealer that has a bit higher coverage so I can use less of it, so it looks like I have less makeup on my face, which is what I want. So really enjoying this. If you're in the market for a new concealer, if all of those things sound good to you, I would definitely pick this one up. I do also just want to put a little like asterisk here saying that if I had had this one for longer, this one might have been up the list a little bit more, but I've only been using this for about 3 weeks now. So I can't really say, you know, like 3 weeks is not forever. I've also only used it in the summer when my skin is at its most moist. So we'll see as we move into fall. I'll give you guys an update in the future if you want to know how my skin reacts, because in about 4 weeks, it's probably going to be like, and then I'm going to look like a peach pit. So I'll let you know how that goes. Okay, so this product I am putting up pretty high in the rankings because it's the one that I just grab when I'm like, I need a little something, but I don't want it to be too much. I want it to be soft. I want it to work with anything. It's just like the one that I know that is going to work. I have one other one that I can probably use, but this is one that I reach for the most. And this is the Hydrodue Luminizer. I love this. I wish that they had more shades. In fact, when the whole crystal slipper collection came out, I think it was a real miss to not do a crystal slipper in this. Now, can you, if you are medium to darker skin? If you guys don't know, I'm talking about one of the shades of the Redimension Hydra blushes, by the way, which is more of like a, I might as well just grab it. This is more of like a rosy beige type thing. So this is a blush and this is the luminizer, but can you imagine if this was done in a more sheer, more luminous effect? That's one thing that I love about the Prosecco Fizz is it's sheer, it's luminous, it's buildable. It's really almost like that beautiful gelée formula. It's not that often that I'm gonna reach for a powder highlighter, but like I said, when I do, it tends to be either this one or the Laura Mercier one. I think it's like French vanilla or something like that. That is just literally like the softest kiss of light. It just looks like you have beautiful lighting on your face. It doesn't look like here is where I put my highlighter. And that's my vibe recently, especially, not just recently, that's my vibe for like quite a while now. If I want a little bit more glow, I tend to go more into a cream highlighter just because then the finish doesn't look so foiled. It doesn't look so heavy on the skin. So I would love to see Crystal Slipper in this, but Prosecco Fizz really works for just about anything. Today I did do it on my cheek, but I do have a relatively glowy blush on. I did do it on the inner corner and the brow bone as well. So it's just, it's beautiful. I love it. I do think that a lot of people could wear this one. I would love though to see the Crystal Slipper one, and then I would love to see one that's a bit of a warmer radiance that wouldn't look quite so icy on deep skin tones. So RMS, if you're watching, just a little idea from me to you. Let's collab. Okay, so now we're moving into, let's see, what do we have left? 3. And these are probably not going to be a surprise to any of you because I've yammered on about these a lot. So now, in third place, the Hydra setting powder. I absolutely love this product. I just pulled it back out again this summer because I do have it in the shade medium, and this is a little bit too dark for me in the fall and winter months. So I actually, in something recently, I got a little sample of it in light. It might have been an Ulta freebie pack or something. I was like, oh, I'm so excited to use that this fall and winter. I love this. It is ever so lightly, even saying luminous makes it sound like it's more than it is. It's a beautiful, healthy skin finish is what I'm going to say. You guys know that the other one that I absolutely love is the Hourglass Veil Setting Powder. That one has no tint to it. First of all, it's fully translucent, but it also is more of a satin matte, like not matte. I'm going to say satin. This does have a little bit of luminosity. It's probably hard to say. It's honestly probably going to be hard to tell between me having this on, but I think you can see in the clips, once I put this product on, I don't look wet anymore, but I don't look like I have dry skin. You know, I just have a bit of that radiance, and I just love this product. A little goes a long way. I made sure when I was filming to show you just how little I use. So typically after I put on my concealer, I do like to use a like angled powder puff to press a little bit of this powder into those areas just to really set that down, because I want that to like not move, go anywhere. And then I take a big fluffy powder brush and just take a tiny bit, you guys, I'm telling you, like the tiniest bit, and really work it into the cap, and then I go everywhere. Now today, because I knew I was going to be using powder products on my cheeks, I did that before I used my color, but if I was doing cream color, I would do this part with the brush after that. But right away after I do my concealer, I always set that down with the little like angled powder puff. So that way I just know like it's not gonna stray, it's not gonna crease, I'm just gonna like lock that in. But the tiniest bit is what keeps the most natural effect. This little thing right here is gonna last me a very long time. I love this product. Whenever I use this up, I would definitely pick another one up for sure. 100% recommend. If you like that finish, you know, if you like a very, very matte or something that's a bit more matte, I would maybe still recommend the Veil, but I like a good glow. I like a good glow. And I think that, you know, it does give a bit of a light reflection and sort of blurs imperfections. So while I think a matte look, if you have a highly textured skin, I would say a matte look is going to really make that look really smooth. But if you have like just those fine wrinkles that you're wanting to like soften a little bit, as long as you're only using a smidgen of that powder product, I think it can look beautiful on the skin. Okay, now number 2. You all know which one is going to be number 1, but of course at number 2, at this point, you have to know it's going to be the original eyelights. I love these. I love these so much, which is why I was so heartbroken about the Cashmere ones. So today I have 2 shades on that I mixed together. I took Spark and Flare, and that's how I got this sort of like middle of the road bronze. So Flare, in fact, I'll just swatch both of these. Flare is a bit more of like a, I would say like your basic bronzy gold, whereas Spark has more of that rosy bronze and it's a bit deeper. So I thought that mixing the two, and I just used my Danessa Myricks palette and mixed them together, but I thought that like a mix of the two would be the perfect transition into fall. So you can see there, we've got Flare and Spark. Spark is just the most beautiful. Oh, it's so good. Like so pretty. Spark is probably my favorite, but it is a bit darker, and I feel like the glow of Flare just sort of like lightened it up a little bit. But Spark in the fall, yes please, absolutely, 100%. I also think that another great one for the fall would be Eclipse. This one, I'm just gonna like smear a little bit out. This is actually a silvery, oh, it's so hard to say because it does have a little gold to it, but at first glance, it looks like a silvery green, but it does have a bit of like a gold reflect. I don't know, it's magical. So I love all of these. I love all of my shades. I do want to pick up the newer Crystal Slipper shade. I basically want all of them other than like the purple, because that's just not something that I would wear a lot of. Now, I know a lot of people fuss over them being in like metal tubes like this. I don't mind that. Easy to recycle. I really enjoy that. I don't have a problem very often with these like going out the top, but I do try to make sure not to like press them too much, and then just a little like tap onto the counter can help the product kind of like stay down. I do kind of wonder if the newer ones are all gonna have this little spout tip, but I'm also kind of wondering if that's why it's been kind of like splooging out the top. I don't know about that, but anyway, stay tuned on the packaging. These I've had for a while, so if they have been updated, I just don't know about that, but highly recommend. You guys know I'm a cream shadow lover. What I love about these is they are very friendly for textured lids, because while they have some glow to them, they're not overly shiny, sheeny, which means if you have wrinkles, crinkles, they're going to be diffused a bit and not look so intense. I think that these blend out beautifully. All I did is I laid down that Dusty Trail shade, and then I took the mix that I concocted on my palette, threw that on with a flat eye brush, and then took this brush back through and just buffed where they meet. Easy peasy, no problem. Ran a little bit of the bronzer underneath my eye, and I had my look. Of course, mixing two of these together is totally sort of like a diva moment, but it's a custom color just for me, and I love it, so I would recommend the combo as well. All right, you guys know number 1 is, of course, the Redimension Hydra blushes. I have every shade at this point. I'm pretty sure I have every shade. You guys know I love Maiden's Blush. If you are new to the channel, I'm gonna just pull that one out. This is my most well-used shade. I would say, yeah, she's doing good. She's like this rosy, cinnamony beige, works with everything, absolutely beautiful. I talked about this shade in my favorites this last month. This is the shade Sangria, and this is the one that I have on. And this to me is a great sort of like summer into fall shade because it's warm, but it's toasty, which to me, that like toasty feel can transition that like summer sun, but also into like campfire cozy. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. The other one that I think could be really fun for fall is Hanky Panky, which at first glance, it sort of looks like it's a really cool tone because of that reflect that it has. It has this like violet pearlescence to it, but I feel like the base of this makes it so that it's not overly cool. Like actually, if I really tip my hand out of the light, it's almost like a warmer tone, but the reflect is kind of cool. So this is a beautiful one for fall, but I wanted to pull out Sangria for that like transition where you're like, I don't know, is it summer, is it fall? Who knows? I love these. I think that the finish of these is so flattering on everyone. It's not gonna come up overly fake looking. You're not gonna look overly metallic. You won't look like a robot. Most of the shades, I think you can build up if you like to see a lot of color like me, but you can also wear them very sheer for just that like whisper of color. So I love them, A++. I mean, I'm a cream blush lover. I am a cream blush lover, but this is by far the best powder blush I've ever used in my life. And I can't imagine not having them. I reach for them a lot, whether it is to use on their own or whether it's to top a cream blush, which I do a lot as well. Speaking of cream blush, here at the end of this rankings, I did just want to share the two things that I haven't tried yet from the brand that are sort of on my wish list. So when we're talking about cream blush, RMS does have the lip to cheek cream pots. I have not tried those. They've gone into my cart and out of my cart a lot just because I have a lot of cream blush. So I haven't picked up any yet, but the formulas and the colors, that red shade, oh, if there was any time to pick out that shade, it would have been for the summer. Beautiful, oh, so lovely. But there's a couple shades that I've had my eye on. Also, the luminizer. So that is the cream pot of, well, luminizer. So they did do the crystal slipper shade in that product, by the way. I do think at some point I'm gonna snag that. I think I'm gonna snag that one at some point. I just can't help myself. I can't help myself. I love a good juicy cheek moment. Give me all of the glow, but not in a robot way. And I think that that's what this brand does so well. If you like your makeup to be an enhancement of you, but also to have some fun color options. Like I think, you know, when we look at lipsticks like in these shades, we're not talking about just like different like versions of beige, right? We're talking about like pops of true color in a flattering way that's gonna work for everybody. I honestly like love that Rosemary is very active in showing her products being used so that you can see them on any age. You know, she'll do her own makeup, she'll be working on a model. So I think that it's just really refreshing to see a brand that is trying to be inclusive of all different ages. I do think that in a couple of those products, like I mentioned, they could use a little bit deeper product like the bronzer, just so that, you know, because it is a sheer product. It's just like if you're using a sheer product, you got to have a little more kick in the pants, right? All right, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I've enjoyed this look so far. This is definitely a look that I feel like I could wear any day, whatever I was gonna wear, and honestly, just about any season. So again, if you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you have some RMS products that you absolutely love, or honestly, if you have some ones that you loathe, I'd love to hear about it down below. I'm sure the community would as well. Thank you so much, lovelies. Don't forget to like this video on your way out. It really does help me, and I will see you really soon.